Judge Taewon Kim sat tall in his large black chair. The courtroom on Orbital Station Proxima was cold and quiet. Stars shone through the big window behind him. The room was filled with humans and aliens waiting for the next case. Next case, Judge Kim said, his voice firm. He looked at his screen. Dr. Jisoo Park, please step forward. A woman walked to the front of the room. Dr. Park was about 50 years old with dark skin and short hair with touches of gray. She wore a simple blue suit and carried a small tablet. Her face showed no fear, only calm. Dr. Park, Judge Kim said, you are charged with breaking the Knowledge Transfer Act. You taught the Altarians about human medical technology without permission. How do you plead? Not guilty, Your Honor, Dr. Park said. Her voice was clear and strong. I did share medical knowledge, but it was to save lives during their plague. The law allows exceptions for humanitarian aid. Judge Kim frowned. He had seen many people try to avoid punishment with clever words. In his 10 years as a judge for the Galactic Consortium, he had earned a reputation for being strict. The prosecution may present its case, he said. A tall man in a gray uniform stepped forward. Your Honor, Dr. Park traveled to Altair 3 months ago. While there, she taught their doctors how to use advanced human medical tools. She showed them how to make medicines that only humans are allowed to make. This is a clear violation of Section 47.3. The prosecutor showed videos of Dr. Park working with alien doctors, teaching them how to use human devices. Judge Kim watched carefully. Dr. Park spoke next. Your Honor, the Altarians were dying. Their plague was killing thousands every day. I taught them basic procedures that saved millions of lives. But you did not get permission first, Judge Kim said. There was no time, Dr. Park replied. By the time permission would have come, half their population would be dead. Judge Kim looked at his screen again. The law was clear. All knowledge transfer needed prior approval from the consortium. The rules existed to protect human technology from being misused. Did you try to contact the consortium before sharing this knowledge? Judge Kim asked. Yes, Dr. Park said. I filed an emergency request. It was denied by an automated system. I tried 3 times. The prosecutor jumped in. The system works as designed. Some technology is not approved for sharing with the Altarians. Their species is classified as level 3, not ready for certain advancements. Dr. Park's eyes flashed with anger. They were ready enough to die from a disease we could easily cure. How can we call ourselves advanced when we let others suffer when we could help? Judge Kim felt something stir in his memory. These words sounded familiar, but he couldn't place them. He studied Dr. Park's face but didn't recognize her. The law exists for a reason, Dr. Park, Judge Kim said. Without rules, chaos follows. We cannot let individual humans decide which technologies to share. Even when the cost is millions of lives? Dr. Park asked quietly. The courtroom was silent. Judge Kim looked at the evidence again. There was no question that Dr. Park had broken the law. But her reasons troubled him more than he wanted to admit. This court finds you guilty of unauthorized knowledge transfer, Judge Kim said finally. You are fined 500,000 credits. Your teaching license is suspended for 6 months. Dr. Park nodded, accepting the punishment without protest. Thank you, Your Honor. As she turned to leave, she looked directly at Judge Kim. There was something in her eyes, not anger, but disappointment. As if she had expected more from him. Next case, Judge Kim called, pushing away his discomfort. Later that day, as Judge Kim was preparing to leave the courtroom, his assistant handed him a notice. Mandatory continuing education seminar tomorrow, sir. For all consortium judges. Judge Kim sighed. Who's speaking? Dr. Jisoo Park. She's a professor of interspecies ethics at the Terran Law Academy. Judge Kim stopped. The same Dr. Park from today's case? Yes, sir. Apparently, she's quite famous in legal circles. Judge Kim felt a chill run down his spine. Something told him their paths crossing twice was not a coincidence. Judge Kim arrived at the Judicial Education Center early the next morning. The building was a tall tower of glass and metal in the center section of Orbital Station Proxima. He walked through the main doors, showing his ID badge to the security scanner. "Good morning, Judge Kim," said the center's AI. "Your seminar is in room 42, level 5. Kim nodded and stepped into the elevator. He had not slept well. The case from yesterday kept playing in his mind. Something about Dr. Park had bothered him, but he couldn't figure out what it was. Room 42 was large, with rows of comfortable chairs facing a stage. About 50 other judges were already there, talking in small groups. Kim took a seat in the back row. He did not feel like talking to anyone today. At exactly 9 o'clock, the lights dimmed. A woman walked onto the stage. It was Dr. Park, wearing a simple dark red suit. Her short hair was neatly combed, and she carried no notes. "Good morning," she said. "I am Dr. Jisoo Park, Professor of Interspecies Ethics at Terran Law Academy. Today, we will discuss the evolution of human law in a galaxy of many species." Kim sat up straighter. Her voice was familiar, and not just from yesterday's court case. He had heard it many times before. Dr. Park touched a control, and images appeared in the air behind her. The first was an old Earth courtroom. 200 years ago, human laws only had to deal with human problems. Now, we must consider how our rules affect dozens of other intelligent species. As she spoke, Kim's mind raced back 20 years. He had been a young law student, sitting in a classroom much like this one. His professor had been a younger Dr. Park. She had been his favorite teacher, the one who had inspired him to become a judge. The foundation of good law is not blind obedience to rules, Dr. Park was saying. It is understanding why the rules exist in the first place. Kim remembered those exact words from his student days. Dr. Park had said them in his very first class with her. How had he not recognized her in court? "Let's consider a case," Dr. Park continued. She touched another control, and a new image appeared. It showed Altarian aliens sick in hospital beds. Recently, Altair 6 suffered a terrible plague. Their doctors had no cure. Human medicine could have saved them easily, but consortium rules classified the treatment as restricted technology. Kim felt a cold feeling in his stomach. She was talking about her own case. What should happen in this situation? Dr. Park asked the room. Should the rules be followed exactly, even if millions die? Or is there a higher principle at work? A judge in the front row raised her hand. The rules protect us all. If we start making exceptions, where does it end? Dr. Park nodded. A fair point. But let me ask you this, why do we have these rules in the first place? To protect human technology, another judge said. And why do we want to protect our technology? Dr. Park pressed. The room was quiet for a moment. To maintain our advantage, someone finally said. Ah, Dr. Park smiled. And there we have it. Are we judges of justice, or guardians of human power? Kim remembered now why he had admired her so much as a student. She never gave easy answers. She made everyone think deeper. 20 years ago, Dr. Park said, I taught a class called Ethical Foundations of Space Law. In that class, I had a brilliant student who once wrote an essay arguing that all sentient beings deserve equal protection under the law, regardless of their species. Kim felt his face grow hot. That had been his essay. She remembered it after all this time? That student wrote that laws exist not to preserve power, but to protect the weak. That true justice means standing up for those who cannot stand up for themselves, Dr. Park continued. She looked directly at Kim, and he knew she recognized him. She had known who he was yesterday in court, too. I wonder what happened to that student's ideals, she said softly. After the lecture ended, Kim sat in his chair while the others filed out. Dr. Park was gathering her things on the stage. He finally stood up and walked toward her. Professor Park, he said. She looked up and smiled. Judge Kim. It's been a long time. You knew who I was yesterday. In court. She nodded. Yes, I did. Why didn't you say anything? He asked. Would it have changed your ruling? She asked. Kim had no answer for that. You were my best student, Taewon, she said, using his first name like she had in class long ago. You understood that law without compassion is just organized cruelty. The law is the law, he said, but his voice lacked conviction. Is it? She asked. Then why do you look so troubled now? Judge Kim couldn't sleep that night. He kept thinking about Dr. Park's words at the seminar. Had he really changed so much from his student days? He got out of bed and went to his home office. Computer, bring up case file Consortium vs. Park, he said. The screen on his wall lit up with documents. He had reviewed them before the trial, but now he wanted to look closer. Something wasn't right. Show me who filed the initial complaint against Dr. Park, he said. The computer displayed a document. Complaint filed by Novamed Corporation, Earth Division. Kim frowned. Why would a medical company file a complaint about knowledge sharing? He dug deeper into the files. Novamed made medical equipment that they sold to alien worlds at high prices. They had an exclusive contract with the Altarians. If the Altarians learned to make their own medical tools, Novamed would lose money. Computer, show me reports about the Altarian plague, he said. Images filled the screen. Sick Altarians in crowded hospitals. Bodies being carried away. Reports saying over 2 million had died before Dr. Park arrived. Kim felt sick to his stomach. He had fined Dr. Park for saving lives while Novamed wanted to protect their profits. Computer, check if Novamed has filed other complaints about knowledge sharing. The answer came back quickly. Novamed Corporation has filed 27 complaints in the past 3 years. 27. Kim pulled up each case. Many of the complaints were against doctors and teachers who had shared human knowledge with aliens. Most of those people had been fined or lost their jobs. Kim couldn't sleep for the rest of the night. In the morning, he decided to learn more about what Dr. Park was doing now. He found out she was working at a small clinic in the alien sector of the station. After his court duties ended that day, he changed into plain clothes and went there. He wanted to see for himself what kind of person she really was. The clinic was busy. Aliens of many kinds waited to see doctors. Kim sat in a corner, pretending to read on his tablet. He watched Dr. Park move from patient to patient. She was kind to everyone. She explained things clearly and never seemed rushed. An alien child with blue skin was crying from pain. Dr. Park knelt down and spoke softly to her. The child stopped crying and let Dr. Park treat her injured arm. The child's parent thanked Dr. Park again and again. Kim stayed for hours, watching. Dr. Park never took a break. When the clinic finally closed, she looked tired but satisfied. As Kim walked back to his home section of the station, he saw a group of Altarians. They looked healthy and strong. Without Dr. Park's help, many of them might be dead now. Back at home, Kim decided to look into the law itself. Computer, show me the history of the Knowledge Transfer Prohibition Act. The computer displayed the information. The law had been created 30 years ago, after some aliens had used human weapons technology against other species. It made sense to control dangerous knowledge. But medical knowledge? Teaching aliens how to heal themselves? Kim found something interesting. The original law had exceptions for medical emergencies and humanitarian crises. But 10 years ago, those exceptions had been removed in an amendment. Who sponsored that amendment? Kim asked. The computer showed a list of politicians. Kim checked their campaign donors. Many had received money from Novamed and other big corporations. The next morning, Kim went to the judicial archives. He needed to see the original texts of Earth's legal system, before humans had met aliens. He found what he was looking for in an old document called Universal Declaration of Human Rights. One line stood out: everyone has the right to life, liberty, and security of person. Everyone. Not just humans. Kim thought about what Dr. Park had said in the seminar: law without compassion is just organized cruelty. He had a decision to make. Follow the letter of a law that had been corrupted by corporate interests, or stand up for the principles of justice he had once believed in. That evening, Kim sent a message to Dr. Park: "We need to talk." Not as judge and defendant, but as teacher and student. He knew what he had to do, but he would need her help to do it right. Judge Kim waited in the small cafe in the neutral zone of Orbital Station Proxima. This area was designed for meetings between different species, with tables and chairs that could adjust to various body types. He had chosen a quiet corner table where they wouldn't be easily overheard. Dr. Park arrived exactly on time. She wore simple clothes, not the formal outfit from court or the professional suit from the seminar. She looked more like the teacher he remembered from 20 years ago. "Thank you for coming," Kim said as she sat down across from him. "Your message was intriguing," she replied. "It's not often a judge wants to meet with someone he just find." A service robot brought them tea. Kim waited until it moved away before speaking. "I've been investigating your case," he said quietly. "And others like it. I found disturbing patterns." Dr. Park sipped her tea calmly. "Tell me what you found." "Novamed Corporation filed the complaint against you. They've filed many others against people sharing knowledge with aliens. They make money by keeping aliens dependent on human technology." "Yes," she nodded. "And they're not the only ones. Many human companies use these laws to protect their profits, not to protect humanity." Kim leaned forward. "The law originally had exceptions for medical emergencies. Those exceptions were removed 10 years ago by politicians who got money from these same companies." "You've done good research," Dr. Park said with a small smile. "What else did you discover?" "I watched you at the clinic yesterday," Kim admitted. "You help everyone who comes to you, human or alien. You're not trying to give away dangerous secrets. You're just trying to save lives." "And does that change how you see my case?" she asked. Kim took a deep breath. "Yes. I believe I made a mistake. I followed the letter of a corrupt law instead of its original spirit." Dr. Park's face softened. "The young student I taught would have seen that immediately. I'm glad he's still in there somewhere." "Why didn't you tell me who you were in court?" Kim asked. "Would it have mattered? Would you have judged differently if you knew I was your old teacher?" Kim thought about it. "Probably not. I was too focused on following the rules exactly. And that's why I didn't say anything," Dr. Park explained. "You needed to find your way back to justice on your own. If I had tried to use our past connection, it might have seemed like I was asking for special treatment." "I want to fix this," Kim said firmly. "Not just your case, but the whole system. These laws are being abused." Dr. Park's eyes lit up with interest. "That would be difficult. The corporations have a lot of power in the consortium." "I have evidence," Kim said. He placed his tablet on the table and showed her what he had found. "Look at these patterns. 27 complaints from Novamed alone. All targeting people who share medical knowledge that would cut into their profits." Dr. Park studied the data. "This is good, but it might not be enough. The companies will say they're just protecting intellectual property." "There's more," Kim said. He showed her another file. "This is from the original law's debate records. The authors never intended to block medical aid during emergencies. That was added later by corporate interests." "That could be very useful," Dr. Park said thoughtfully. "But what do you plan to do with all this?" "I want to overturn your conviction. And then I want to challenge the whole law, or at least how it's being applied." Kim's voice grew stronger as he spoke. "I was wrong, and I need to fix it." "You would risk your position as a judge?" Dr. Park asked. "If necessary, yes. What good is being a judge if I'm enforcing unjust laws?" Dr. Park smiled fully for the first time. Now that sounds like my former student. She reached across the table and put her hand on his. You should know this won't be easy. The corporations will fight back hard. I know, Kim said. That's why I need your help. You know these laws better than anyone. You've been fighting this battle longer than I have. What exactly do you have in mind? She asked. I'm going to call a special session of the Interspecies Court, Kim said. I'll overturn your conviction publicly and present the evidence of corruption. But I'll need you to help me prepare the legal arguments. Dr. Park nodded slowly. It will be dangerous. The corporations have friends in high places. Are you willing to take that risk? Kim asked. I've already broken their laws to save lives, Dr. Park said with determination in her eyes. I'm certainly willing to help fix those laws. They spent the next 2 hours planning their strategy. For the first time in years, Judge Kim felt like he was truly serving justice, not just the law. The Interspecies Court was packed. Everyone on Orbital Station Proxima had heard about the special session called by Judge Kim. Humans sat next to aliens from a dozen different worlds. Reporters aimed their cameras at the empty judge's chair. Novamed Corporation had sent 3 lawyers. They looked nervous, whispering to each other as they waited. Dr. Park sat quietly at the defendant's table, her face calm. The room fell silent when Judge Kim entered. He wore his formal black robe with the silver stars of the Galactic Consortium on the shoulders. His face was serious as he took his seat. This special session will now begin, he announced. I have called this hearing to address case number 2185 CR 7421, Consortium vs. Dr. Jisoo Park. The Novamed lawyers sat up straight. One of them stood. Your Honor, this case has already been decided. Dr. Park was found guilty and fined. I am aware, Judge Kim said. Please be seated. I will explain why we are here. The lawyer sat down, looking confused. As a judge, my duty is to uphold justice, not just to follow rules blindly, Kim began. After careful review, I believe a serious error was made in this case. Murmurs spread through the crowd. Judge Kim was known for never changing his mind. I have discovered evidence that the Knowledge Transfer Prohibition Act has been corrupted from its original purpose, Kim continued. He touched a control on his desk, and images appeared in the air for everyone to see. These documents show that the medical emergency exception was removed from the law due to corporate pressure, not for public safety. He displayed the campaign donation records and voting patterns. Novamed Corporation and others have used this law to protect their profits, not to protect humanity. The Novamed lawyers jumped to their feet. This is outrageous, one shouted. We have the right to protect our technology. You have the right to fair profits, Judge Kim replied calmly. You do not have the right to let people die to increase those profits. He showed videos of the Altarian plague victims, then images of healthy Altarians today. Dr. Park saved over 1 million lives by sharing basic medical knowledge. Knowledge that should never have been restricted in the first place. A tall alien stood up in the audience. His blue skin identified him as an Altarian. If I may speak, Your Honor? Judge Kim nodded. I am Ambassador Len from Altair 6, the alien said. Without Dr. Park's help, my people would have continued to die. She taught our doctors simple procedures that we can now perform ourselves. She asked for nothing in return. Is this the kind of knowledge humans wish to keep secret? Thank you, Ambassador, Judge Kim said. He turned to Dr. Park. Would you like to address the court? Dr. Park stood. I became a doctor to save lives. I became a teacher to share knowledge. I believe the best of humanity is not in what we keep to ourselves, but in what we share with others. Judge Kim nodded. Then he spoke in a clear, strong voice. I hereby overturn the verdict in the case of Consortium vs. Park. All charges are dismissed. All fines are cancelled. The room erupted in noise. The Novamed lawyers were shouting. Many in the audience were cheering. Judge Kim raised his hand for silence. Furthermore, I am issuing a judicial recommendation that the Knowledge Transfer Prohibition Act be reviewed and amended to restore its original humanitarian exceptions. One of the Novamed lawyers stepped forward. Judge Kim, you have overstepped your authority. The consortium will remove you from your position for this. Perhaps, Kim agreed. But I would rather lose my job than betray the principles of justice I swore to uphold. Ambassador Lin stood again. The Altarian government supports Judge Kim's decision. We will file a formal request with the consortium to review this law. Other alien representatives stood as well, each voicing support. The Novamed lawyers looked around, suddenly realizing they were outnumbered. As the session ended, Dr. Park approached Judge Kim. You risked everything today, she said. I just remembered what you taught me, he replied. That law without compassion is not justice at all. And what will you do if they remove you as judge, she asked. Kim smiled. Perhaps I'll return to school. I think I still have much to learn about true justice. Dr. Park laughed. I might have an opening for a teaching assistant. As they walked out of the courtroom together, humans and aliens approached to thank them. For the first time in years, Judge Kim felt truly proud of his work. He had not just followed the law, he had made it better.